Have you ever felt like your brain is a browser with 47 tabs open, music is playing somewhere and you're not sure where? Yeah, same. So ADHD can sometimes make life feel a little bit like controlled and sometimes not so controlled chaos. Everything from unfinished tasks and clutter and forgotten deadlines and random hyperfixations. Like, the thing to keep in mind is that this isn't necessarily a you problem, whether you have ADHD with a formal diagnosis or you're pretty sure you have ADHD. Just keeping in mind that this is not necessarily something that is isolated to any one individual. It's just a little bit of how our brains are wired. So we can work with that once we understand that's where it's coming from. So let's talk about a few simple, practical ways that you can manage the ADHD chaos and get back on track without necessarily just relying on sheer willpower. Step number one is going to be to reduce the mental clutter. This really matters because your brain is trying to keep track of 100 things all at once, which can be really exhausting. So one of the most valuable things that I found, especially as I'm finding the chaos starting to take hold, is to just start pulling things out of my brain, externalize the chaos. I have notebooks on my desk that I use just for brain dumping. Whenever I'm starting to find I'm having a hard time focusing, it's literally just grab a notebook and just start being like, what all is on my mind that I need to do? This and this and this and this and this. It's really interesting, as a small business owner, how many of those things, as I start to get them on the page, I was pretty sure that I needed to be the one to do, but now that I'm actually looking at it, I'm suddenly realizing maybe I can send that to one of my team members instead. And whether you want to use a journal, you want to use whiteboard, you want to do a digital planner or Post-it notes or whatever, I don't care. But get whatever is in your head out of your head. Once you have everything down on the page, use the 2-minute rule. And there's a lot of why this matters, but the short version of the 2-minute rule is that if it can take less than 2 minutes, do it now. i.e., if you're sitting here thinking, I need to make sure that I take all the glasses downstairs from my office at the end of the day, then that's going to take you less than 2 minutes. Pick them up and do them now. Then cross it off the list. This starts to create a little bit of momentum in the brain, which not only clears the item from your mental to-do list, but it also starts to get your body thinking, getting a little bit of dopamine release. It's oh, I did the thing. And so we start to actually be able to knock things out quicker and quicker and quicker. Next, whatever is left, take it and put it into some sort of visual system for you to be able to break down when and how to organize knocking out these tasks. So whether that is putting it into a Kanban board or a color coding, whether that is organizing it into a calendar, I don't particularly care, and then color coding it so that it's pretty, that's fine. That's completely up to you. Your job right this particular second is just to make sure that you take all these other tasks and get them planned in somewhere where you will reference back to. Maybe for you, that is literally just taking a sheet of paper and writing them out in different colored pencils and then putting it up on the wall so that you can check them off as you get them done through the end of the day or through the end of the week. Number two comes down to controlling the physical chaos. So this comes down to something that I've talked about a lot on this channel, and that is the clutter that is on your desk that is driving you mad whether you realize it or not. See, our brains function on something called change blindness. The way change blindness works is that once we've received a stimuli so many times, we no longer consciously recognize that we're getting that stimuli. That doesn't mean we're not getting the stimuli. It just means we don't recognize we're getting it. So our brains are still eating up a little bit. If we use a car analogy, right? It's still eating up a little bit of gas. Or if we use a computer analogy, your brain is still using some of the CPU to process the clutter. It's just not forefront. If you ever pulled up Task Manager and there's 800 tasks running and you're whoa, where did all these come from? That's what the clutter is doing to your brain. Couple of things to think about here. One of my favorite tools for dealing with clutter in my office is what I just call the clutter basket. Talked about this many times on the channel. It's literally a basket that sits under my desk, out of sight, that at the end of every single week, all of the clutter items that are pulling at my brain get swept off the desk and into the basket. And then it gets put down there. Now, throughout the week, as I need those items, I can pull them back out. Additionally, I have found that there are some items that I'm just going to keep on the desk. They may look like clutter, however, me having to bend down every single week on Monday morning to pull them out of the basket because I put them away on Friday afternoon, it's not particularly helpful. So I just make sure that they stay on the desk. I then created a space for them on the desk so that I have a place for them to sit and to hold my attention. That said, there is a concept called if you can't see it, you'll forget it. So what I would encourage is that for the things that you know you will probably end up needing, make sure that they are somewhere on your desk you can see. Maybe you need to buy one of those little desk organizers that have layered levels to it so you can put some items here and some here, or you need to get one of those ones with clear drawers so you can see where everything is. All of those pins that you thought you were gonna need but you forgot that you had, so you kept buying more of them. Just get a little see-through drawer so they're organized and they're out of sight. or they're not out of sight, but they are put away, so they're not pulling at the clutter concept in your brain. About once a quarter or so, well, sometimes it's closer to every 6 months, I will go through that clutter basket and then I will throw away everything that I haven't pulled out in like easily like 5-6 months, because it's usually the stuff at the bottom of the basket that I couldn't throw away previously because like I might need it, but now it's not such a big deal because I haven't used it in so long, nor has it been front of mind. Look, chaos happens for everyone. This is not just an ADHD brain thing. The problem is that most ADHD brains weren't really built for like traditional structures to manage that chaos. So we have this situation where we have a like iOS brain that we've been looking up Android how-to help articles for. So we've been trying to use like concepts and ideas that work really well for a neurotypical brain's wiring or patterns or operating system, but we just don't have the same internal operating system. So start thinking in terms of understanding what your operating system, the way you are wired and put together, which is different from anyone else, because even if you and I both have ADHD, there's still going to be differences in how you're put together, how you're wired from the way that I am, just because of coexisting diagnoses, etc. Like there's a lot that comes into play. So a lot of this comes down to you figuring out what works for you. But recognize when you are falling into chaos, it's so important to make sure that you are taking that chaos. You are pulling it out of your brain by doing the brain depths. You are getting it off your desk and out of sight by doing the clearing, because chaos can become a real problem for us, but it doesn't have to be. And hey, if you're interested in breaking through that chaos, check out the link below, because we might just have some tools to help you out.